Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Thank
Hi,
you.
everyone.
How are you all doing? Glad to see the three of us together.
Again.
Yeah, after a long, long time.
It's been a while, but we're happy to be back.
Yes.
Talk
Yeah.
about some enlightening conversations about conscious parenting. I am Fatima, and we have Poonam and Anna, and we're going to choose a card today. Let's see what we have. Got one.
I'm always curious, when someone's picking up the card.
What are we going to get today?
Let's see what we're going to delve in today. Your children are not here to serve you. They are here to serve themselves first. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think this quote encapsulates like the essence of conscious parenting and highlights the importance of recognizing your children as individual beings with each their unique needs and desires and their own paths, right?
It's a very subtle message because we are not conscious that we expect our children to serve us, whereas our ego creates a facade that we are serving our children. So you talk to any parent, like I talk to my clients, what's your goal? I'm trying to make my child happy and successful. So we are not conscious that we are imposing our own agendas on our children. That's number one. So it takes a lot to reflect and understand that we are asking them to serve us.
Yeah, I think you have to reflect on your role as parents.
Yes.
And like in a traditional society, we place children in certain roles and they have like main objectives that they have to fulfill. They have these where we have the expectations and desires of our parents have these expectations and desires of their children. But I think with the conscious parenting approach is it's about the child's true self. And so when we follow the traditional way, it's more like you inhibit the personal growth and self-discovery of the child.
Yeah, that's where my thoughts went, that it challenges a little bit of cultural beliefs. And yeah, when you said that we're not conscious of these cultural beliefs, it hit a good point too. Yeah, I don't think we are. We just have inherited them generation after generation. And I think it had its place, but we have gotten to our generation where we're a bit all over the place, needing some freedom and needing some sovereignty to figure out how to express our unique self. And so that's what we want. It's not about like taking full responsibility from the children, but we also have to keep in mind that they are somebody inside that little body, right? And so children are egocentric, and especially teenagers are egocentric, but we know that the ego is there to protect. And we can look at it as a negative thing, or we can look at it as protection of this sovereignty. Because if they are not egocentric, we unconsciously could really rip them apart, so to speak, by not knowing when to stop, right? It's good to teach them manners and responsibilities and family values and a little bit of your role in the family unit. But at the same time, I think the most important thing is to keep a balance between these two worlds, like allow them to serve themselves, because they do serve themselves through this egocentric phase of their young childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hits deep.
It does.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember like when my children were growing up, obviously I've been raised traditionally. So I wasn't conscious about what I was carrying. Like I was so unconscious about my unconsciousness. And I was like now when I reflect on how I was raising my kids, I have projected so much on my children. And my ego was so enmeshed in the relationship that every act of theirs was like I was taking it personally. And because the society has taught me to have a kind of a facade where like you are appreciated for certain actions and certain kind of things, like especially like in our culture, there's so much stress given to academics and how your child is performing. Like it was my agenda, like my ego was like so strong that it was my agenda that my children should perform really, really well academically, because I felt less than if they didn't perform.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't realize that. And I was doing all of that under the facade, or I totally believed that I was doing it for their good. But when I started becoming conscious, like I started understanding that if I'm doing it for their good, if they are unable to perform well academically, why does it disturb me? Like, why is there disturbance within me? It should not disturb me at all. It should be like, okay, so if they're not doing this, and if that's detrimental to whatever I thought was their future and success, then I should have been still calm and still dealt with it, because it was to do with them. But I was so enmeshed and I was taking it personally. So when I started becoming conscious, not saying that I'm fully conscious, I still go back to those ways because they're so deeply engraved in who I am. Like I'm trying to shed that, but it's not easy. It's a tough journey. Like I fail most of the times. But whenever I reflect on that, I totally realize how I never asked them what their goal was. It was all to do with my goals and how I think their life should pan out. I was so attached to that.
Yeah.
So I never gave them that sovereignty, never allowed them. Like, and I think we kill that spirit so early on that sometimes they become so obedient that they don't even test the boundaries again, which is so sad. I'm glad my children didn't do that.
Yeah.
They speak their mind. And I'm glad they resisted.
Yeah.
Because now we can still undo what I've done to them to some extent. But most of the undoing, they'll have to do it themselves. I'm sad I can't do it for them, but yeah, again, I'm attaching myself to
Yeah, I think in short is unconsciously we think they are an extension of our needs. And so this is how we make them serve us, right? When I need you to put your shoes on now and get out the door now, and we go there now and we do this, and you're going to do this and you're going to do these activities, and I choose everything that I think it's right for you. Those are actually my needs as a parent, because in my mind, like Poonam was saying, I need you to be a certain child so I can feel good as a parent. But it's totally not taking in consideration what they want. And so we annihilate right? Their free expression. And then, yes, you have the spunky ones who like resist, but then you have the quiet ones who are afraid and they're like, okay, what? And so we just want to suggest that this is what we do. We always keep in mind these aspects. Like, yes, there's tons of stuff that I choose for my kid, but I try to involve him in those choices. And I try to build this vocabulary of communication with them where I say like, hey, I think, you know, basketball would be maybe good for you at this point. What do you think? I don't know. I don't, no. Or, oh, okay. And so we build this communication over years and years so that when children are 8 and 10 and 12, you have this mutual respect in communication with them, and they see like, okay, you're still the mother, you're still the parent, but you care for me truly in my unique self. Like, you're curious about me. You don't just choose for me. And I think that's the biggest paradigm shift in conscious parenting approach versus traditional way of raising kids.
Yeah. And I think like we impose all these things on our children, right? Like in the academic way, or we try to pursue our dreams through them and imposing. So we sit and impose our unfulfilled dreams and our ambitions onto them, not allowing them to, which if when we impose this on them, they begin to lose touch with their true selves. They begin feeling inadequate and unhappy. And this, in a way, also stifles the child's individual desire for what they're passionate about and what they aspire to do. So we obstruct their path to self-discovery. And, you know, I think of like, and if you think of the analogy like of a sculptor, where like, as he's sculpting, he's not imposing a form onto the stone, right? But rather he is
Chipping away until the form
the
takes
excess
place.
material to reveal the masterpiece within. And that's what
so beautiful.
We don't have to impose all these things, but help remove all, like you say, Anna, chip away that excess material until we find the masterpiece. And that shows us that our role is not to mold our children into what we desire them to be, but to support them in revealing who they truly are. And I think that's what we can take from this, is to just allow them to reveal their true selves.
Oh, that's so beautiful. My mind just like took that to so many levels. Because it takes all these elements of conscious parenting, right? It takes mindfulness and attention and curiosity and discipline. And do we approach our children with all these things in mind? We mostly don't, because they're little and naive. And so we allow ourselves to be so, right? Like our behavior is so much better in public and in places where our interests matter than home with our kids. And so, yes, we can switch that around.
Yeah, in saying that, I would just want to point out that we are not saying that we don't need to have boundaries and that we don't need to have discipline and that we don't support, like our goal is to protect our children. So their safety matters. All of those things matter as well, but still give them room to be themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fine line. It comes with experience. So, and the other thing that I wanted to say is like the way I was treating my children, it was out of fear that they might not be like successful in the form world. And you need to have like a source of income. But our definition of success has to be reflected upon as well. Like how do you define success? Because like I was defining success from the materialistic point of view. So I wanted my children to do well, which is most parents, you know, they want them to do well so they have a good life. So there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
But the way we do things, we can change that. And your child or my child could have a different meaning of success.
Yeah.
Let's give them that freedom to, yeah, like Fatih said, unpeel and bring forth the beauty that the universe gave them,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I
And
think
it starts a little bit with this leap of faith, right? Like just trust that there's something in them and
Yes.
allow it to come out.
Mm.
And once you see it, then it's like a seed, like it's in the ground and you don't see it. But if you allow it space and you nurture it, it'll come out and then you will help it flourish. It'll be easy to see it then once it's out.
Yeah, that's
We
a
can still
beautiful,
teach them the ways of form world because we have to keep that balance.
Of course.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, as parents, as adults, to like regularly reflect on our actions and our intentions in anything we do as a parent, or as if you're not a parent. I think our intention is what we need to sit with, because I think in that you can assess whether your actions are in the best interest of your child and their individual needs and growth, or is what I'm imposing, or do I have an expectation, or is this just merely to fulfill your desire and expectation as a parent? So I think that's the way what you can sit with and ask what comes up for you. Why are you doing this? I think that's important as well, to what a parent or any individual could just reflect on.
Yeah, exactly.
And like
Lots
Anna
of
said,
little nuggets.
fostering, yeah, and like Anna said, right, like with the seeds, fostering the correct environment where your child can flourish.
Yeah, a lot of the battles end when we do this. Maybe people ask, okay, why should we change this whole way of parenting? It's so hard.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the struggles come from that resistance of not respecting their sovereignty and understanding that they're also little humans that can do things. And when they are respected, right? Like, this is not just about conscious parenting, but all of the biology, neuroscience books like Daniel Siegel, and where he talks about the yes brain, like how yes has such a different impact than no. And we don't even realize, again, that a lot of the way we phrase things to children is in a negative way with the no in front. So when you change that, children change automatically. They just respond. So a lot of the battles will end and will settle only because we approach children this way.
Yeah. And we don't realize how bit by bit we lose connection with every little resistance that we create in their path. And then we, like, when we look at families when they become adults, there are so many families where the love is missing. And we don't realize where we went wrong, because all this while, as parents, we were trying our best to give the best to our child, but we didn't know that it wasn't the right way of giving the best, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's sad that we just repeat those patterns generation after generation, not understanding that it was our decision to bring these children into the world. And all through our lives, it's our responsibility to serve them, not them serving us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I think we
Yeah.
can make a commitment into being more mindful today, more understanding and supportive to to be supportive parents, but also supportive to those around us, and allowing them the freedom to be themselves. And like when you talk about children, allowing them to the freedom to be themselves, to explore, to make those mistakes and to learn. And I think when we allow everyone and our children in doing this, we not only empower our children, but I think we enrich our own lives in this way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The more you give them that ability to be themselves, the more they will feel confident in their own abilities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time we are fearful, every time we are trying to impose an agenda, we are trying to tell them they're not good enough, they need to do something to be good. So they're not good right now.
Yeah.
They have to chase something and get somewhere to be good. So the only message that I want to give today is that whatever you're doing to your child, if your boss was doing that to you, how would you feel?
Right. If you were treated that way.
Mhm.
And then sit with those feelings, and know that your child feels just the same. We all want to be accepted and validated and helped, right? When we need to learn something, helped with kindness. And so we can all stay with that today and continue to practice these conscious steps into becoming more present for our kids. And yes, we'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank
More
you.
love to you and your families.